Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial we are going to be making a vinyl V-split tumbler. I'm using a 32 plump from the Steel Magnolia, and my vinyl is from Gracefully Created. You can find it in her pattern vinyl collection on her shop page. Now what I'm doing, I trimmed the bottom of this, and I'm sorry I did not record that part, to fit the length of my tumbler, wrapped it around and marked where the ends met. Then I'm going to fold it over, not creasing the top, but allowing a little indentation on the bottom side of this, and that is going to be our point of our V-split. So I marked it on the bottom with a little tiny mark that you won't be able to see. And then I'm going to take my vinyl slicer and slice from the point at the bottom to the marks that I made on the top. And then I will go to the other side and slice from the corner to the point at the bottom. And this is going to create a perfect V to wrap around our tumbler. Once you have that, you're going to want to make sure that it does fit your tumbler perfectly. So check that before you try to apply. But in the case that you do and there is any error made, all of Gracefully Created vinyls are matte and removable. This does not affect how they adhere to your cup. They have always worked perfect for me. This just allows you to remove it without leaving any residue behind, and it helps you not damage your vinyl when you're removing it. So once you trimmed off the little bit of backing off of your vinyl, press that down and then work your way right around the cup, and look at that. See how easy it was? And then I'm going to take my painter's tape and just tape on the vinyl side so that we can paint our stainless and add on our glitter. And I'm going to be using the knife that I have bragged about in my previous tutorials. It's time to replace the blade, so I'm just going to take my needle nose pliers and pop that top one off, and it has a fresh new one underneath. I absolutely love this thing, and I will link it below for y'all in case you want to have one too. I just trimmed along the edge of my vinyl and then add on my second strip. Make sure that your tape is pressed down really well so none of your paint is going to seep underneath. And we're going to be using one of Artistry's new COLORFLEX paints. This is Wine, and I will be using a makeup brush that I got from Dollar General just to apply this to my cup. These paints are designed to go directly onto the stainless of your tumbler. There is no base coat, no spray paint coat necessary. You can put it directly onto the stainless, prepped or not prepped. That's totally up to you. That's one of those highly debated topics, so we're not going to get into that. I have had quite a few questions asking about the difference between the Flippin' Awesome paints from Crystalac and the COLORFLEX paints from Artistry. I will tell you they're both amazing products, and for different reasons. Most of the Flippin' Awesome paints do take 2 coats, whereas Artistry is a paint, primer, and adhesive in one. So as you can see, I took EPOXY from PDB Creative Studio, which is an absolutely gorgeous glitter, by the way, and applied it directly onto my first coat with the COLORFLEX paint. And with that added adhesive, it is a little bit thicker, so you get better coverage and it is more pigmented. So even on the lighter colors, you have to do less coats than what you would with the Flippin' Awesome paints. And then with the Flippin' Awesome, they are thinner. They do take more coats, and the majority of their colors, they're dark ones, for me only take 1, but they're easier to blend since they're thinner, and you can work up your ombres just like you would using multiple color glitters. Now, if I had to choose between the two, my personal favorite would be COLORFLEX because of the added adhesive and more pigmentation. It takes out some additional steps for me, and I like not having to mix epoxy to add on my glitter. But I'll likely have both of them on hand at all times. So now that I have went way into the next step, let's catch up. I allow my paint to dry for about 2 hours and then sealed this really well with Rust-Oleum Matte Clear Coat. I did that twice to prevent any of my glitter from moving around, and then I applied one layer of Artistry's 1:1 ratio Fast Set. The 1:1 ratio Fast Set is a thick viscosity, so normally I only need one coat over my initial glitter coverage before I can sand and add on my decals. I have 6 strips of my favorite Tech Wrap Craft textured vinyl, and my largest strips are cut to 0.15 and the smaller strips are 0.09. A lot of times I just cut these with my little vinyl cutter, but you can cut them with your Cricut to make it a little bit easier and make sure that they are nice and even. So I just started at the point to make sure that this strip of vinyl is going to have a nice little point at the end. And then I will take my craft knife and trim straight down the center of that point and remove off the excess vinyl on the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to take my smaller strips and add those in right below that larger one. Once I had finished my little strips, I went straight into adding on my decals. The first decal I created myself, and it will be available in the cloud file in my Brittany Barnes Boutique group. The offset on it is 0.035. Looking back, I wish that I would have either used a bolder font or made the offset a little bit larger, just so the decal would stand out a little bit more. But of course, it did turn out really pretty in the end. I just lined up that top vinyl with my bottom offset and applied that to the tumbler. Now to add a little bit more to the design and make the back stand out as well, I got these florals from Creative Fabrica, and they are so cute, but I will tell you they were really hard to work with this textured vinyl. Since they have such small little elements in them, it was hard to get them to stick to my transfer tape. I just measured the bottom around the tumbler and made sure that they would be wide enough to cover the entire bottom portion of the tumbler. And then I just went in with smaller sections to make sure that I'm not overlapping that printed vinyl or that pattern vinyl on the front. So this larger section in the center is what we're going to do first, and I'm going to line up that large or the tall flower with the point of the V-split. And once I start getting to those corners that are a little bit lower, I just trim off the bottom of the flowers so that they are proportionate and fill in those little gaps. Unfortunately, this is about where the recording stops. I'll use my ring light to attach my phone to record my tutorials, and my ring light broke and dropped my phone to the floor, and my phone was dead for about 2 hours, so I was able to get it to cut back on, luckily. However, I did miss showing you the remaining portion of adding the florals on, and then I went in with 2 coats of Artistry's Fast Set 1:1 ratio epoxy, and this tumbler was complete. I don't think it can be a Brittany Barnes tutorial without some sort of tragedy. But hey, despite any of the obstacles, we always finish, and that is what matters. Hopefully you are all able to take something great away from these tutorials. And don't forget, I also have an Instagram and a Facebook group where I post short little clips of mini tutorials and other things that I use that I love. Like and subscribe to my channel if you love this tutorial, and hit the little bell in the corner if you'd like to be notified anytime a new tutorial drops. That is all for today. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next time.